All right, cool. Again, everyone, give a round of applause for Dr. Price here. Thank you for being able to share that and getting this started off. Piggybacking on the conversation about conflict as well, and just as it was teased earlier, I'm going to talk to y'all more about meeting people where where they currently are, not necessarily meeting them halfway. Along this journey, we're going to hit on a couple of other points. It may seem like a lot, but we're going to do it as best we can to get it within that 5 to 7 minute time frame. Talking about everything from kind of what Disney does, stepping on college campus for your first time, and how to navigate tough conversations with other folks where they may have conflicting ideals or conflicting experiences regarding diversity. Again, my name is Topper. I am currently serving as the program coordinator at the Cross Cultural Center. It's the 3rd floor of Argus Forum. Some of you all have seen, that's great. Some of you all not. Please come upstairs to the 3rd floor. Love to have you up there. Love to say hi. It's a great space. Originally, a little bit about myself. It's my first year at Chapman University, so I feel welcome within my first year here. Originally hailing from Golden, Colorado, by ways of Lubbock, Texas, where I did my master's degree program out there. So, disclaimer, if you hear any y'alls, draws, all y'all, let me know. Sorry if I lose you. And especially being from Colorado, if I don't pronounce my T's in the middle words like mountain, kitten, button, that's also why too. So just putting that out there. And lastly, for a little bit of logistical things, the Student Affairs Vegas rule, some of you who've been to a couple of our presentations at the Cross Cultural Center have heard me speak before. I like to talk about it too. So is everybody familiar with the Vegas rule here? Anybody been to Vegas? All right, cool. So I've seen some head nods. If not, so Vegas rule, if what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So a little twist with this Student Affairs Vegas rule about kind of the reflecting on conversations that you may hear here or hear up here. Even if they're personal stories, just make sure, hey, that's not your story to necessarily tell. So what happens here stays here, but what's learned here ultimately leaves here. So there's the twist. So make sure you remember that. All right, so going more into the conversation about, how do we confront, diversity, conflict within conversations about diversity on college campuses. So for starters, I want everyone to think about the first time they walked on the college campus here at Chapman, or if they had transferred somewhere else, and the first time, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and thought, oh, this is going to be great, I'm going to get off on the right foot. Think about the first experiences that you had, the first things that you had seen, the first things you had experienced, and the things that you had listened from your peers, or even administrators welcoming you on campus. Now on the flip side, think about the first complicated experience in which you had a conflicting idea, a conflicting view from the time you stepped on that campus from what you heard from the first time. Now, this could be religion, politics, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, gender, etc. So a variety of different reasons that you may have felt that conflicted with your views coming onto a college campus. Ideally, many of you chose a college campus because there was something about that college that really resembled the ideals and beliefs that you had. You're saying, I'm going here because I believe this is something where I'm going to be able to be my best self and learn all that I can too, which is great. One of the examples I'm going to provide you, when I worked at Texas Tech in Lubbock and working in a predominantly very conservative area of West Texas. If nobody knows what that is, we're in the Panhandle, about 5.5 hours away from anything. So flat, if your dog runs away, you'll see it for a week. Guarantee it. Working there, I was the graduate assistant for conference services. So I had the fun job of being partnered up to try to bring people to West Texas. It's, trying to sell ice in the middle of winter. But yeah, people do it every year. And then also working closely with our orientation team, bringing roughly 10,000 new students coming to campus for the very first time. Many of them coming to Lubbock for their very first time, as we had gotten a lot of applicants who just said, I wanted to go to this school because my parents went to this school. And at Chapman, we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of the applications that did come in where, hey, you know what, I really like what Chapman does. I want to come here. And then during the orientation processes, I've had conversations that were very similar with these students and these parents that I had witnessed at Texas Tech. So where this story continues out in the plains of West Texas and the hot summer days where 115 and it kind of averages out, and of one of the large groups of students that came through, many of the students and parents would have a lot of questions of, hey, how do I get to the student union building? Hey, where's the nearest Whataburger? It's kind of down the street. Very general logistical things, or how do I register for classes? A couple of things that would catch you off guard that you don't think that you would hear a lot of times are like, hey, how many colored people are on this campus? And plus that, be like, so I think my room, and one of that came up, was like, hey, I think my roommate's gay, and I want a roommate change, and mind you, this is for orientation for this large institution, happens in July. The school year hasn't started yet. It starts end of August, beginning of September. Like, hey, I think my roommate's gay, and this is the parent coming, I want my student to change rooms with them. Now you think, being out in West Texas, confronting parents, students who feel a variety of different ways about what their beliefs are, or what they grew up as. You think, okay, maybe this is just isolated to West Texas. This problem doesn't happen in California. Spoiler alert, it does. My first orientation here, working at a program in which, just after convocation, right? The wine and cheese night, where we get to welcome parents and students, and after the students have finally gone through their last orientation session, the fireworks gone off, and we welcome the parents and thank the parents for bringing them inside into the Argus Forum, for also sitting through the orientation and saying, hey, thanks for bringing your kids to us, and they are in great hands. Had the exact same conversation as I did in West Texas with one of our parents that had come in. I'm going to take a sidetrack here. Who's also familiar with our neighbors who are at Disney who are down the street? Anybody? Okay, if you haven't, yeah, Disneyland is that way, about 9 minutes. One of the things in which we did while working kind of in the conference services field, before I even get into the conversation of what had actually happened, both with the students, with the student and parent at Texas Tech, and also with the parents and students here, what Disney does is they work on their they have their VIP as part of their training. And everyone thinks VIP is like, oh, it's a very important person. Think of it as a very individualized people, a very individualized experience. So everyone who comes to this campus here at Chapman is looking for a very individualized experience. Within those conversations and meeting people where they are, not necessarily meeting people where they're at, or meeting people halfway, where we hear a lot of times, just meet them halfway. They'll give them the tools, they'll figure it out themselves. Think about the students and think about your first times, the educational experiences where you came from. You may not have had those experiences in the high schools that you went to or in the communities that you had grown up. Some of the concerns or questions that they were bringing up, they may not mean ill, and it's just the way that they had brought this up and to you and how it was framed, especially with the conversation of where these parents, when the parents came up to like, hey, I think my son's roommate is gay, they don't want to be with them, I think they're going to turn him gay, I don't know. And just understanding that, these parents are looking for the very individualized experience, but they're also still they're also forgetting the learning opportunity for that. So within there, think about what Disney does in the very individualized learning experience, that every student that comes in, think about this is maybe their first time experiencing that too, and being able to use that conflict as not I'm going to get defensive and shut down, rather than I'm going to use this as a learning opportunity to bridge the gap. So at the end of the day, talk with this family for 45 minutes during a very, very fun and eventful night, and turned the conversation, actually met the son, met their entire family, met the grandparents that were there too, and talked about, hey, this is a way that we can get involved, this is a way, the opportunity, and kind of meeting them where they're at by using real world examples from the community that they come from here in Orange County of similar experiences. Okay, well, let's try to open this up. Let's try to shift your influence, your thoughts, and get you to meet other people and come to our programs and continue that discussion and conversation. So I know we're running out of time for that, but I know we can talk a little bit more later about the conflict. But yeah, thanks for your time.